Chuck Todd is NBC's political director and moderator of Meet the Press. Chuck, good morning. With people now literally dying in the streets, you hate to jump to the politics of this, but President Trump has made it a centerpiece of his reelection campaign. What we're seeing in the streets, the protests in the streets. He talked about it at length during his nomination speech on Thursday night, and you'll be looking at it today, I know, on Meet the Press as we make the turn to the fall. What does this law and order, as the president describes it, how does this play into the campaign?
Well, obviously, he wants to make it the diversion from focus on the virus. He wants this focus on the inner cities. He believes it's a way for him to have a political comeback here. But I'll tell you, I think there's a ton of risk here for the president politically. He can't look like he's rooting for the violence. You heard the comments from Kellyanne Conway on Friday, sort of fed into that perception. The president retweeting, calling the Portland, the Trump folks in Portland, calling them patriots. He is yet to condemn the vigilante violence. So it's obvious what he's trying to do, but I think he risks looking like he is rooting for violence here, and that's a bad place to be.
And he, as Kelly said, is up and tweeting relentlessly about this issue already this morning. Chuck, let's talk about that news that Kelly also reported about the Office of the Director of National Intelligence no longer giving in-person briefings to members of Congress on election interference. How big a deal is that, and what are the implications of it?
Well, it's a huge deal. It's basically the intelligence community announcing they're no longer going to brief Congress. You brief them in writing. It means it gets politicized. It means the political appointees likely approve all the language. There is no, you've got to have a give and take. Well, what does this mean? What does that mean? So, no, it does look like it's the equivalent of whitewashing intelligence, and I imagine Congress will push back hard. I thought it was interesting how not hard Marco Rubio pushed back, but he's complaining about it, but at the same time trying to condemn the idea that there are leaks in Congress. Administrations always try to blame congressional leaking for withholding information, but they always want to withhold information because they're more afraid about embarrassing information. So this looks like a whitewash.
And all this just last week, we got the Senate Intel report over a couple of years that showed Russia had interfered in 2016 and was up to it again. Chuck, thanks so much. We'll look for much more this morning on Meet the Press when Chuck looks ahead to the fall presidential campaign. He'll be joined exclusively by White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows.